Time now for the SunTrust Buzz Williams Report. We bring in Buzz Williams. And, Coach, I think we were both anxious to get your thoughts following this game. I think you knew going in that due to a variety of factors, it might be difficult to establish energy early, but then it seemed like the guys did a nice job of playing through that.
I would agree. I think our guys know when they're not playing us. And one of the things that I'm happy about is they realize when we're not us. The thing that I've got to figure out is when we're not us, how to hurry up and get us back there. And because they're saying to themselves the exact same thing I would say. And the thing that we've got to get past, and I think I probably gave them more grace tonight than I have at any point since I've been here, is that doesn't trend well going forward. And I think they understand that. But as we've been talking all year, that's the next step to maturity. And, Dream doesn't quite know when we're not us, but he wants to help. But the rest of those guys, they know. They know when defensively we're not very good, when we're not playing with the discipline that we have to play with. Offensively, they know when we're settling for a good shot, when we could reverse it to the other side and probably get a great or a perfect shot. And we have to resist that better and more. Because as we go forward, including the game on the 28th, we can't allow that. The team, Baltimore County, is really good. And nobody knows that, but they may be the best team that's come to Castle thus far this year. They're a different team than Ole Miss, but within how they play, they're very effective.
Were you happy with the ball movement tonight? 10 assists on the 25 buckets. The only game you had less than 10 was the game in Michigan when you had 8.
Yeah, I didn't think we were very good. We're going to have less turnovers. I know we scored 73 at Michigan, but we've been playing better relative to assisted baskets since Michigan. And I thought we had 3 turnovers in the first 4 minutes, very similar to what happened against Citadel. And I think this is the first time that we've had a negative assist to turnover ratio this year. No good.
Lately, we haven't seen a lot of teams match up with you man-to-man or try to. And tonight it seemed like Barclay Redebaugh really sagged that man-to-man, take away some of the driving lanes. And a lot of nights, you know the old adage is when the shots go down, everything looks a lot easier. But on a lot of nights, with the averages being what they are, you're going to be able to shoot a team like that out of that type of defense, aren't you?
Well, we were shooting 50% from the field going into the night and 40% from the 3. We didn't eclipse either of those numbers. Some of those shots that we typically make, we didn't make, particularly in the first half, and they were shots coming off of how they were playing us. And I didn't necessarily think that they were bad shots, but they are shots that we typically make. I thought there was a time in the first half that we were a little offensive sensitive to, we normally make that shot. But when we can get the game fast, that helps us. And when teams are just, hey, you can't get it in here. You can't get a paint touch. And I think, not trying to coach his team or anybody else's team, it's probably going to be more of that than anything else. Hey, you can't get to the paint, and there's only 2 options. Either we're going to play soft and we're going to sponge on everything in a man, or we're going to play some sort of zone. And going into tonight's game and their 10 games that they had played distinctly more zone than they had. They played less zone tonight than they had in their previous 10 games, other than their non-D1 games, I would guess.
Last year, free throws were such a big part of the offense, and you look at tonight, 31 out of 37.
Better.
Huge.
Better. And I think that playing off of what Lays just said, when you play like that, if you'll be patient and get it to the second and third side, if the ball is moving that fast, Burnip, when they're just sponging, in other words, they're kind of guarding you, but they're kind of saying, go ahead and shoot that. We're not going to let you get to the paint. We're going to get fouled if we'll get it to the second and third side. And I thought we did better with that in the second half. Chris does a really good job with that. Even I know he's always playing for an assist, but he does a really good job because most of the time his guy's not going to guard him, right? So he's used to being sponged, and he's driving it at the next guy in the sponge. And that's why when it gets to the second and third side, that's another reason, in my opinion, not sticking up for our guys. That's another reason why there were only 10 assists, right? Well, we made 31 free throws. there's not going to be as many assists when you have that high of a free throw make number. The ratio of that is, I don't know. I mean, we were getting fouled a lot.
There was a point in the game where the exact difference in the game was the free throw discrepancy, to be sure, in the first half. But how important was it, tail end of this game, you really got back to being yourselves, having fun. You could see the no-look chemistry, all those things. And then Matt Galloway, he got it off his back finally tonight.
We called a timeout to run a play for him, screwed up the play.
Had a turnover.
And then Greg, you know, he gets his first 57 minutes of the year, 57 seconds of the year. And I think the ball hit the other side of the maroon pad.
True.
Yeah, it did
right?
on the bottom side here. But
yeah, so on the downward slope.
I think, though, that was my favorite moment of the season thus far when Matt passed up the three in the corner and you immediately say, call it timeout.
Yeah.
If you're not going to take it, I'll draw one up
Come
for
on,
you.
man. And then Seth's telling me when I called the timeout, Seth's like, Coach, you got to draw something up to get Matt's shot. I go, I know, that's why I called the timeout. And then as I'm drawing it, Seth's in the game, and he's not even paying attention. I go, Seth. He goes, Coach, I already know what you're going to draw up. I go, okay, man. Okay, all you guys are coaches.
How concerned are you about Justin Bibbs?
I didn't think he played good.
Yeah.
He didn't play good tonight, but I'm not concerned.
Yeah.
He's a good player. He's our best perimeter defender. He's the most disciplined in how we play. We do need him to make shots, but I don't think there's enough data to say that that's not what he's not going to do.
Last one for head coach Buzz Williams as part of the Farm Bureau postgame report. Coach, Merry Christmas to you and yours. I know that you'll enjoy the Christmas break. Before you go, you sit here at 10-1. We're nitpicking a nearly 30-point victory, of course. I know all things being equal, there's some things that you might change, but all things being said at this point, are you happy with where this team is?
Oh, for sure. I just told our staff before we prayed and the team, you know, I think relative to what we've done since the second weekend of November, the work, the preparation, I think the scouts have been as good as I've ever seen. I think our guys this early with a team have absorbed and played to the scouting report better than ever before. A 10-day road trip that ends up being 3-1. Obviously, we're continuing to do good things at home. They're tired, and they're ready to go home. They're ready not to have practice. They're ready not to watch tape. And we need to handle I'm going to go recruiting with one of our guys tomorrow, and that'll be a all-day deal. Take my boys with me. That'll be a good change of pace for me, and then we'll be off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and part of Christmas, and then we'll work Christmas night. But, yeah, you know, I don't know that only God could author something like this to be 10-1, and I think a little bit of what's happening is, in a good way, right, the feeling that you get from winning, you want it to become habitual. And as a player, you're playing for that feeling. And the more reps you have at that feeling, the more you understand what you have to do to get to that point. And I think outside of our program, in some ways, obviously, I go to Joe's every now and then, and that's pretty much what I do. I go to my house, I go to my office, and I live a very sheltered life. But I think within the vibe, you know, I think there's some people that are going, oh, maybe, you know. And on the 28th, if we can handle business on the 28th, it'll be the first time in the history of Virginia Tech, since Virginia Tech has been in a conference, that Virginia Tech in non-conference play would have only had one loss. And that doesn't mean anything. What it does mean, though, is it means that in non-conference play, for the most part, we've been incredibly accountable. We're up 17 at the first media timeout against A&M. It's my fault. We end up losing by 3. But other than that, I think you have to feel good. And yeah, we're grateful. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to your daughters. Merry Christmas to your fiance. Thank you guys for what you do. Thank you for the people that listen. Merry Christmas to you and to your family, and God bless you.